Hello, everybody. This is Wednesday. Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to everybody. This is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. It's your responsibility to do your own due diligence and what is right for you. But let's go to our screens. Tech is down kind of big. Eli Lilly is down as well. Amazon is actually up. Google is up. Meta was down much further before. They're kind of bouncing back. NVDA is down about 3%, and it probably will affect the market in one way or the other, whether they go up or whether they go down after they report their earnings. Energy is slightly up. The oil prices are up. So let's go to our other screen. If you don't want to worry about the bobs and weaves of outrageous fortune, just get into an annuity, goes up in value, does not come down, does not lose money, goes up, goes up. Whereas the index is bob and weave and are more susceptible to sharp pullbacks. And in 2008, we know the S&P 500 went down 50%. So annual annuity beats index investing by about 5%. Think about 85 to 90% of people should be in an annuity. And a lot of annuities, or some annuities, give bonuses on opening up new accounts. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. So that's that screen. Let's go to our other screens and see what's happening in the world. Here's Elastic pulled back to its 50-day moving average and is now bounced. So we'll continue to watch these. Let's go to our dollar index. Dollar index is off about a penny. Silver is pulling back, bounced off of its 20-day moving average. Gold is up a penny. So the dollar is down a penny, the gold is up a penny. Our copper bounce, pulled back today, and then is bounce, arrow copper. Southern Copper is bouncing as well. Freeport McMoran bounce off the 200-day. Yeah, it looks like we got a gap up here. Vale, it's pretty flat, up just slightly, up 5 cents. Rio is down, continues down. Yeah, their earnings came up. Their earnings were up 100%. And I guess that was an earnings surprise of 0. BHP is down about 0.64%. The yields are up slightly, bouncing up almost 1% on the 10-year yield, 4.32, and the 20-year yield is bouncing as well. This definitely looks like it could be a cup with a handle formation. We'll just see how far this one goes. The VIX moved up sharply today. This one over here, we just missed our targets. And today it's up to 1580, bouncing 246. Let's look at the S&P 500, where we had our targets. We had our targets at 493.60. And the low today was 494.41. RSP is down about 0.21%. A little bit of a pullback here. The NASDAQ is pulling back as well, down to 422. We'll see if it gets down to its 50-day moving average. Equal weight, the NASDAQ is down a little stronger, gapping down 1.39. IWM, with that interest rates moving up, they're very interest rate sensitive. It's down about 1%. And Dow Jones pulling back to its moving average. Take a look at Ethereum. Pulled back and it's fighting to move back up. Had a pretty big move yesterday. And look at one of our Bitcoins ETFs. It's down about 2%. We'll see if it fills the gap here and then bounces off the 20-day moving average. We'll just have to wait and see. Financials kind of holding steady there, down just slightly. Energy got a bounce. Oil prices are bouncing as well, almost up 1%. Even though Google was up slightly, the communications is down because I guess Meta is down more than Google is up. Real estate is up slightly today, up 0.4. Utilities bouncing a little bit. Biotech pulling back to the 10-day moving average. Software gapping down below its 50-day moving average, down 3.6%. Technology pulling back. It looks like they got a bounce off the 50-day today. Infrastructure holding steady at the 10-day moving average. Airlines holding steady at their 10-day moving average as well, down 0.35%. Semiconductors pulling back to their 20-day moving average. Out of the office, leisure is up 0.4%, up 6 cents. Healthcare pulling back to their 10-day moving average. Industrials pretty flat, up 6 cents. Consumer cyclical, consumer staples is up slightly, up 11 cents. Actually 8 cents, up 0.11%. Building materials recovering from yesterday's gap down and pullback. It looks like it's filling the gap there, up 0.32%. Metals and mining is up slightly, up 0.72%. building materials or uh, home builders, I should say, pretty flat at 0.03%. And our triple rated FANG index continues its pulled back to the 20-day moving average. We'll see if it moves even further down to its 50-day. We'll just have to wait and see where it gets support. So let's take a look at what the news is today. On our sector news, Amazon to replace Walgreens Boots Alliance in the Dow Jones Industrial Average is moving up about 0.5% on that news. And Walgreens Boots Alliance is selling off, gapping down 3% on that news. So I guess the move was prompted by Walmart decision to split their stock 3-for-1. Walmart was up big and looks like they're trying to fill the gap today. Caesars Q4 adjusted EBITDA 930 million versus 949 million last year. Initially sold off and is bouncing back. Lazy Boy Q3 adjusted EPS 67 cents versus 72 cents. And Lazy Boy is gapping down, trying to fight back to get to the 50-day. Toll Brothers and Home Builders Q1 EPS $2.25 versus $1.78, gapping up, and it's currently on the low for the day. Uber to replace JetBlue in the Dow Transportation Index. Uber didn't get much help there, and let's see, did JetBlue fall on this news? JetBlue did. It had gapped up here, so we'll just see if it can hold that gap. On to energy. Chesapeake Energy Q4 adjusted EPS $1.31 versus 73-cent estimate. The earnings are down, looks like 89%, but it was a 51% earnings surprise, and they are at their high for the day. Diamondback Energy Q4 EPS $4.74 versus $4.70. I missed the F in FANG. And it's up slightly today, 1.37%, a decline in earnings of 10% year over year quarter. Matador Q4 adjusted EPS $1.99 versus $1.78, and they're moving up. Decline of 4% year over year quarter. And Solar Edge Q4 adjusted EPS loss 92 cents versus expected loss of $1.33, and still they're moving down 12% today. On to financials. CoStar Group Q4 adjusted EPS 33 cents versus 32 cents. Something's going on. There we go. CoStar Group is up about a little over 2%. HSBC lost 153 million in Q4 of last year after writing down the value of its stake in a large Chinese bank. Quarterly revenue was 13 billion, down around 11% from the same period last year, and a big gap down in their shares today. They're off 8.85%. Public Storage Q4 core FFO share is $4.20 versus $4.13. Tried to move up, and they're at their low for the day, up 1%. Realty income is up slightly. AFFO a share was $1.01 versus $1.08 estimate. And finally, Will Scott Mobile Mini Q4 44 cents versus 52 cents, and they're moving down about 3% on this news. On to healthcare. CYH Q4 adjusted EPS loss 41 cents versus estimate a 6-cent gain. They're down on this news. Global Medical Q4 adjusted EPS 60 cents versus 61 cents. And they are moving up slightly, 0.54%. Halo Q4 adjusted EPS 82 cents versus 83 cents on revenues of 230 million, and they're gapping up on this news. Earnings are up 71%. Medifast Q4 adjusted EPS $1.09 versus 3.70, and yes, that would sink a stock down nearly 19%. Neogenomics Q4 EBITDA 9 million versus estimate of 3.15 million. They're moving up. Earnings are up 150%, 221% earnings surprise, up nearly 8%. Teladoc Q4 EPS 17-cent loss versus a 21-cent loss, and their shares sink about 26%. I guess people were expecting much more. Vir Biotechnology announced that Executive Vice President and Chief Medical Officer Phil Pang has decided to leave the company at the end of March 2024, and their stock is off 1.86% onto industrials and materials. Boise Cascade Q4 EPS $2.44 versus an estimate of $2.58, and it kind of crashes through the 50-day. This would be a sell signal here. Anytime something comes through the 50-day like this, this is a sell signal. Celanese Q4 adjusted EPS $2.24 versus $2.31 initially sold off, and it is now up 1%. Earnings are up 58%, maybe something that was on the call. ESI Q4 EPS 32 cents versus 33 cents. Earnings are up 10%, and this big sell-off 2.53%. Enovix Q4 EPS 28 cents versus 27-cent loss, and they are down on that news. Flowserve raises quarterly dividend 5%, replenishes buyback to 300 million. Q4 adjusted EPS 68 cents versus 60, and their stock is moving up 1.24%. Graphic Packaging Q4 adjusted EPS 75 cents versus 70 cents. On to International Flavors. Quarter four adjusted EPS 72 cents versus 75, and their stock is down to the 200-day moving average. As we know, or I continue to say, nothing good happens below the 200-day moving average. Matson, quarter four EPS $1.78 versus $1.51, and their stock is selling off. Even though they beat estimates, was much lower than the previous quarter a year ago. On to technology, media, and telecom. Palo Alto Networks, quarter two EPS $1.46 versus $1.30, but their forward guidance was pretty dismal, and their stock is down 28%, and has cast kind of a pall on all the other companies in this sector. We'll take a look at some little bit. Keysight Technology, quarter one $1.63 versus $1.59, selling off down 19%. Ring Central, quarter four adjusted EPS 86 cents versus 82 cents, up slightly 1.46%. Sprout Social, quarter four EPS a 36-cent loss versus a 33-cent loss. Tried to move higher and now is selling off. This is a 33% decline in earnings from a year ago. And finally, Vertiv, quarter four adjusted EPS 56 cents versus 53, 100% earnings increase from the prior quarter. And they're down 6.82%. We sold right around here, half of our options yesterday, and right around 58 and a quarter. We sold the rest of them today. We had the $57 options. So that is the story with that. Let's see what is moving up today. I'm sure Birkenstock is moving up again. This is a recent IPO. Recent IPOs will provide most of the growth, and it is getting close. It looked like it tried to break out today, and then it pulled back, up 3.78%. Toll Brothers was in the news, up 4.3%. Wix offers a web development platform. Earnings were up 100%, and they gap up and they closed on their low. Vital Farms, breaking out here, produces and sells pasture-raised organic eggs, butter in Texas and Missouri. Archrock, another breakout, provides natural gas compression operation, up 5.9%. Earnings came in at 200% increase. What's up? 5% on 100% increase in volume. Also in the oil and gas area. Antero Resources gapping up and on near its high today. Archrock, natural gas suppression. Maybe we just looked at that one. Chesapeake Energy, we looked at in the news, gapping up near its high, up 7.73%. CNX Resources, a lot of the oil and gas are moving up today. A lot of these things move together in groups. Good volume. It's what you want to see. Good volume over here. I guess it kind of foretold what was going to happen. When it went down, it was mainly in lower volume. That's also what you want to see in the base of a stock. Constellium, rolled and extruded aluminum products, is gapping up, but it is on its low for the day. Earnings came in a negative 64% and a big buying volume here. EQT, also in natural gas, big gap up. They reported their earnings a few days ago, and we got some good volume. Although it did have big selling on this day, I'll just have to see if it can continue. It needs to get above 39.88, I believe, to really get in the buy area. So this is Gulfport Energy. Yeah, all the energy seems to be moving together. Garmin, we'll just look at the top 10. Packet Group, technology consulting services focus on sales and general and administrative. And Indivior develops a branded boop. That's a tough one, based on prescription drugs for treatment of opioid dependence. And they're up a little over 5%. Just kind of quick scan at some of the others. And now let's take a look at what's up 10%. Iovance Biotherapeutics gapped up yesterday and continues a strong move today. And Gentherm is pulling back here. So we have a rule: if anything falls 12% from the peak, we would cut this. So we sold this right around 214 today, Zscaler, and it was down 14%. And it was really on the news of Palo Alto Networks conference call. Take a look at Crowd. Crowd is down, but it's kind of bouncing off of its 50-day moving average. It's down a little over 10%. Sentinel-1, strong move down. These are all in the same area of competition, and Qualisys was not doing very well in the first place, and it keeps continuing down. GitLab, we also took our profits here. It's just more of a gut feeling. It pulled back to its 50-day moving average. Just didn't like this move below the 20-day, so we cut that as well. We're going to keep an eye on Kava. It's kind of bouncing around here. Big gap down today, along with a lot of the major leaders. So we'll just kind of keep our eye on this. And we do have at 48.01, I believe we do have a sell stop on this one. Elf Beauty still looks pretty good, just off 0.32%, bounce from its 20-day moving average. We'll just kind of continue to see how this moves along. PBR is in the oil area. We had added last week. It's up about 8 cents today. Continue holding that one. And we did add on SMCI. We took a profit on a spread trade yesterday. We put on at 725. It's kind of bouncing around. We're just going to hold on to this a little bit. It did go close at it had a high yesterday of 802. It closed at 787.57. I think a lot of this depends on the NVDA conference call today. So we'll just, for the moment, hold on to this. It's a possibility it could come down to the 20-day moving average and bounce. It is a little volatile, so we'll take a look at that. This is a Hong Kong issue. We had been in before, we got out. It went up to 35.07. So this is kind of the breakout at 26.45, and it had an ugly reversal yesterday, kind of bounced back, and it's moving up again today. So I wanted to take a look at for the education. This is Climax run activity here. When it has two gaps in a row, this is like an exhaustion gap up here, and then it had a big sell-off. There was a company that we had. Let me take a look at when this was. This is Tilray. That was right over here. This was, we've been 226.21. Let's take a look at that. This is a nice thing about this software, just to go back. So this, I believe this is a CBG or CBD or marijuana producer. Ran up to 22.61. Had a little bit of a pullback here, broke out of that area, and then just continue moving higher. Then it gapped up here. I believe I sold it right around in the 30s. And look at this big gap up here, and then this looks like the exhaustion gap again over here. And then there's a big drop, big gap down here, and big fall from grace. It fills, looks like almost fills two gaps. And there it has definitely filled those gaps. Tries to come back a little bit. Continues further down. It builds a new base. And then it looks like it pretty much fails, falls below the 50-day moving average. And then continues down. And then if we just want to fast forward to today, it's down under $2. So doesn't happen in all Climax runs, but Monster Beverage, I believe, had one as well, and I think they came back. But this is just an example of Climax runs, what can happen. So it is, I know, a risk with a super microcomputer. They are producing AI computers, so we'll just won't take a look and see what happens here. But that's our educational session for the day. This is our show. This is Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. Do your own due diligence to make sure this fits with your style of investing. Um, and we'll be here to try to help your money work harder than you do. Have a great Wednesday, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow.